must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Viewers, those listening to this tape or this video, I want to bring to your attention that the politics of proxy wars in Africa is becoming real, and it has become a reality. I want to bring to this the attention of the African states that time and time again we have fallen victims of proxy wars. We fight wars that are not ours. We fall in conflicts that are not supposed to be, don't help Africa, and they don't help our countries at all. The proxy war that is in East and Central and the Horn of Africa has been ignited, supported, equipped by France. It has been very real that the French government, quietly through its company called Total Oil, has been searching for resources around the triangle of East and Central Africa and the Great Lakes region and the Horn of Africa. The LAPSET was one of them, which could have been a landmark project for the people of France. They withdrew from it. The Tanga to Mwanza, they made it, they withdrew from it. The search for oil and resources through Total Oil has brought us the dangers of a proxy war in the region. It is therefore very prudent for people of the region to understand the dynamics that we are going through. For example, in Rwanda and the Burundi conflict, there is a proxy war. We are fighting a proxy country. It has brought us to a war between the two countries, between Uganda and Rwanda and Burundi. There is a proxy war in Congo who is sponsoring a resurgence of rebels that are fighting President Tshisekedi because he was not supported by countries that we know very well. This type of strategy has happened in North Africa, where Libya has been reduced to rebels, where each faction, even the government supported by United Nations, is being bombarded by a rebel called Khalifa Haftar, who is funded by countries that we know. The question of Somalia and the Kenyan maritime presents a challenge, a test case for Africa and East Africa to stand firm and denounce the actions of countries that bring proxy wars and proxy politics in our region. It is therefore my humble submission that for this conflict, for this to end, we must do enough publicity, advocacy around the area to tell and explain to the international community why this problem is going to create an imbalance in the peace in the region, and the regional peace will be affected. It is therefore my humble submission that as a Ugandan whose troops, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers of other many millions Ugandans who are in Somalia, condemn any action by the Somali government to try to resolve issues that should have been resolved amicably as Africans within the African confines. I submit, therefore, that some of us will go a mile further to do now, from now onwards, to expose, to show the challenges of these countries that make us fight a proxy war in Africa. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you. viewers, those listening to this tape or this video, I want to bring to your attention that
So thank you for making the time. I don't know how many people here in the room know or visited Africa, the continent, but I think it will be interesting to use this half an hour to really not only promote what the continent and what your respective countries have to offer, but also to explain why all these investors who are at the Future Investment Initiative should look at Africa.
What China has seen in Africa is opportunity. And they have matched that opportunity with an eagerness and a willingness on the part of new progressive governments on the African continent who are desirous for investment, job creation, growth in their economies, redeveloping broken down infrastructure. China saw an opportunity. It matched. Russia, they have decided also they want a piece of that action. Here we are in the age of the airplane and fast-moving ships, and yet the trade between Saudi Arabia and the Gulf in general is not even a quarter of the trade that existed between Saudi Arabia, the Gulf, and the East African region 200 years ago, when the only vessel available was the dhow. So what does this mean? It means that we are natural partners. It means that our trade existed well before even the colonial era period. These are the trade links that we need to reestablish, to realize that we are natural partners, to realize that the opportunities that exist for mutual prosperity in between our two regions are tremendous. We're telling the world, come, Africa is open for business. Africa's enemies are only those who see us in negative light.
Absolutely.
Africa wants to be a friend to all.
Absolutely.
And is open for business.
Absolutely.
Conflicts in Africa have become the daily occurrence. Daily occurrences in many countries, in the sense that almost every African country, apart from the few, there is tension. One wonders where this tension at times comes from. Some of it comes from elections, a manufactured election, a disputed election results. Some come from territory. Some are terrorist-based, like that of Somalia and Boko Haram. Some are because of regime change, purely sponsored by external forces. But 95 to 96% of conflicts in Africa occur through the sponsorship of external darker forces that would like to benefit out of the spoils of war. George Soros stands as one person who has always been and will always be and shall be until the end a man who sponsors any type of chaos, who does not follow which type of chaos he is sponsoring, as long as it is chaos that can topple a person he hates in Africa. Many African countries are undergoing this pressure, this tension, especially those that are conducting elections and whose timetable for elections seem to be coming in the near future. As a result of that, Africa stands warned, and Africa must stand on alert about the external forces that want to dismember this continent and create heavens of war, create insecurity, create mirage peace that Africans have fought after 66 years of gaining political independence. It is therefore my submission that most African countries, if they don't look at what George Soros is doing, we might have a shocker one morning, one by one African country being pushed out and the leaders being pushed out of power. The events therefore in South Africa, as proved from these detailed undercover operations, they prove that George Soros indeed has a say in South African politics. And therefore, we want to urge Africans and African heads of state and their military and intelligence systems to be careful and watch on the amount of money that is being pumped into their economies, because some of the money could be George Soros money that will end up to bring public disorder in most of the African countries. Thank you very much, viewers. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya, the city of sunshine, shining all the way in this good tropical climate of Africa. Thank you very much, viewers, wherever you are in the world. This is Punchline Africa Television, the only television in Africa that speaks about Africa, that talks, defends, finds solutions for Africa. What ails Africa? What kills our continent? We discuss them here. We look at the features of Africa. What next after 50 years? When we are gone, this is Punchline Africa Diplomatic Leaks. In this show of Diplomatic Leaks, what do? We go behind the enemy lines and look for evidence. Who is killing Africa? With me in the studio to do this and humbly deliver this information. Get a pen, sit down, write, enjoy, interact with us. This is an interactive session. Talk to us, send us messages, we shall send it back. We shall answer you. We might not communicate to everybody, but we answer you from there. The people of Amazonia, thank you very much. The prayers are coming. I'm going to read you something this evening that will make the people of Amazonia very great and very, very, very serious, freedom, resilient people. For 4 years, you have been hammered by Paul Biya. I've stood by you these last 4 years in the struggle to make sure that Amazonia and Paul Biya bears pressure upon pressure coming on him from international community to release you to go ye. Thank you very much. Something has happened in the United States Senate. The first resolution comes condemning Mr. Paul Biya. The next resolution we are moving to, no airplane will pass. Flight-free zone. Today. Thank you very much, Miriam Ogut. I'm back, and I think you are happy to see me. I can see the smiles. The smiles continue to ignite.
It's nice to have you around.
Right, yes.
And the viewers also missed you a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
The viewers, like Mr. Nganga, like Mr. Snowdown in Tonatoro.
I haven't seen Mr. Nganga here for a long time.
He got annoyed, but he's still around. He's with us.
Okay.
Don't worry, this is Punchline Africa Television. We say it as it is. You like us, you hate us. I don't know. If you hate us, it is our making. I want to read something, Miriam, for you, so that, and others, so that you know what type of cement I have been made of. Because some people think I am not made of cement. But I am made of very serious concrete blood. And which says, I, David, I accept both compliments and criticism. It takes both the sun and the rain for the flowers to grow.
It does.
Well, that is the quote of the day. Enjoy it. Don't only accept good things. Don't accept people to praise you all the time. Allow people to hammer you like the way they hammer me. They hammer me everywhere, every inch. Kenyans on every platform. A section of Kenyans. A section. That one that is lost does not see the sunshine. Does not see the rain. That rain can bring a flower. 2009. Today, this morning, one Colonel by rank, we were doing a show, and I think you heard it yourself. He reminded the people that this guy here, me, in 2008, nobody wanted to talk about the funny investigations that were being conducted in Kenya. I stood up, I said it. He gave me a lot of encouragement. I don't need money. I need such compliments that can make me grow and grow and grow. Let's come back to the subject of this afternoon. 3 countries or 2 countries are bringing us chaos. And if we don't call them out, the Kenyans are going to tell me I was a stupid man. No, I'm calling them out. If you are annoyed, go and hang on a transformer. I'm not involved in your transmission to the transformer through the electric power that goes through your blood. The question today, this afternoon, is Somalia shifting towards further isolation in the African Union? The answer is yes. Turkey, Qatar, Norway, stop funding Somalia, the presidency of Somalia, to attack African countries that have suffered both materially, with human resources gone, our younger children killed, when we want to pacify the Somalia that Siad Barre had. We talk, and we are going to talk frankly. What will you do? You will kill us, finish us, but you will not change the version. You can kill us as many as possible, but you are not going to change the river until Somalia is pacified from terrorists headed by Farimajo. Farimajo is not a president, he's a terrorist. The links of Farimajo with Turkey, Qatar, which I have seriously got evidence, which I can table to any international agents, annoy me. Let me tell you, Farimajo, is not a leader worth it. Where did the Somalis get this guy? This is a man who does not like we people who support him. He kills us. He calls us kafirs. He called me. That's a personal life that I am. And I will make sure that the AU, the United Nations, the European Union, the British government understands that there is no regime in Mogadishu, but there is a mercenary in Mogadishu who does not want to negotiate with Africans, who does not want to talk to Africans, but who is sponsoring these guys? Who? Let's come. Turkey. Miriam, let's go.
So Turkey and Qatar, of course, have aggravated long-standing intra-Somalia disputes between factions in the capital, between Mogadishu and the regions, and between itself, the self-declared Republic of Somaliland. Right now, Somalia is not in very good terms with Jubaland and Somaliland. But also, we've seen them fund Somalia and the attacks that Somalia is making, because Somalia as a country itself does not have the capacity to really be backing some of this war. It tries to start across Africa, especially with us, Kenya, and we've seen the role that Norway is playing in terms of it is Norway's oil company that is really mentioned even in the disputed 15 blocks of oil in the disputed maritime land there in the Indian Ocean, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Turkey's support for political Islam, particularly movements linked to Muslim Brotherhood, a force that Emirate leaders argue is akin to ideology and a gateway to more violent and intolerant forms of Islam. Turkey supports political Islam. And I watch it very clearly. I'm not sparing. If Kenyan government wants to work with Turkey, so be it. It's up to them. I'm not a diplomat. I'm not accredited to Kenya or am accredited to any of. I am an international oversighter. I oversight. I look for areas of corruption. I look for which country is funding what and chaos, bringing chaos, and I expose them. Turkey funds political Islam. Stop it.
And Muslim Brotherhood. And we saw even after, remember the former leader of Egypt who died, who was from the Muslim Brotherhood, Mohammed Morsi.
Yes.
And you could see even in Turkey, prayers by the Muslim Brotherhoods there were being held across Turkey.
Mr. Turkey,
in support of the
we have been, your Ottoman Empire neo-colonial hangover. What can I repeat for students of international relations? The Ottoman colonial hangover over us. Leave us alone. You have damaged your entry and your coexistence in Europe. You still have the Ottoman Empire hangover. The colonial hangover of the Ottoman Empire that sees you now coming in Libya and Somalia. Boss, Turkey, get out. We have flagged you. Country number one. That is Turkey. It supports. Are you baffled? Are you baffled? Can you be baffled? Somalia has the same language. Somalia has the same religion. Somalia has the same customs.
The same people.
The beliefs. Somalia has clans. It should be united to fight Al-Shabaab. But Turkey, with their mercenary leader called Farmajo, they have now arrived. They are paying money to the ICJ. They are paying judges. Serious accusations, under which I have labeled to the United Nations Security Secretary General. I'm not keeping quiet. Mine is to write and label and put. It is up to the people. If I did not stand up to shout about this Somali judge, nobody was looking at it. They were going to allow her him to supervise a case against Kenya. Stupid. That's very stupid, shallow, prudish, sardonically very wrong. It should have not happened. I stood up. And I'm going to stand up now to shout for this region to have peace. I'm a peace lover. I am not a warmonger, neither am I a terrorist. I just want peace. Even a terrorist can sleep when there is peace. Is there a job that you are told to be a terrorist? Did God create you to be a terrorist? God created us to sleep and eat and drink and go home and relax. This colonial hangover of the Ottoman Empire creates chaos that we see in this region. Turkey comes to Kenya, say, we love you so much. We can increase and the flights can come. Turkey goes to America, to Mr. Farimajo. You said don't give up. Bring 1,000 Somali pilots against the instructions of the United Nations Security Council of arms embargo. Turkey has sold 8 sophisticated aeroplanes
to Somalia.
I have that evidence, receipts, invoices, and user certificates delivered. I don't talk, papa. I have it. That evidence is with me. Let Turkey come up and say it did not sell those planes. You see, most of the journalists in Africa talk pa. I don't. I first get my evidence, then table you. I have evidence to show that Turkey has paid several judges in the International Court of Justice, including promising houses, accommodation, holiday rooms for Turkey for the case of the Indian Ocean to be over. Kenya, listen to the lips here. If you go to that court, you go on your own. I am not there, I've told you. Because Turkey and Qatar have bribed until that court, the entire bench, is dismantled. Kenya should never step in that court. I said this on Ocampo. They said I was a liar. Now, I am saying again, because I have evidence. I have very crucial evidence. How many times the judges of the International Court of Justice have been to Qatar, the hotels where they have stayed, who pays their bills? I have evidence. How many judges have been going to Ankara to stay? What does Turkey want? Who pays for Somalia? Somalia has no commercial bank, has no central bank. Turkey funds Somalia to disengage Africa, to dismantle Africa, because the motive is the Ottoman Empire hangover.
And also,
over to you.
And also, just the rivalry in the Gulf, states over there in the Middle East that now is peeling over Africa, and unfortunately, Somalia has become their playing ground. We see their interest.
Yes,
Turkey is just fighting for its interest in Somalia.
No, not the only interest.
So is Qatar.
It's the conqueror, conquering.
Yes.
You remember the Turkey Ottoman Empire once conquered the entire of the Eastern Indian Ocean. Enclave. Therefore, they have come back. They are here. Mama, they are here. They want to bring us a war, a longer-lasting war, a conflict that we have tried, a conflict that we in Uganda have lost our children, maimed, tortured, blown up to pieces on a daily basis. The young men who have never produced children like I have are being killed in Mogadishu, while Turkey is doing the opposite. Turkey, We are watching you. I'm not a Kenyan diplomat. So go and hang. What will you do? What? What will you do? What? Why did you leave this evidence everywhere? It's not my problem. You had the evidence is everywhere. We have it. Tell me you did not sell the planes to Somalia. Tell me you don't have 1,000 Somali pilots training against the AMISOM regulations. Tell me.
And
Turkey.
United Nations arms embargo.
Yes. Let's go. Bring it on. Bring it on. If Kenyans are keeping quiet, it's their problem. President Uhuru Kenyatta is his problem. He's a diplomat. I am not. Whether here or London or New York or Ankara or wherever you take me, I will speak my mind. Turkey is bringing chaos and we must call it out. Ethiopia. Hakuna kusipea leo. This new Prime Minister of Ethiopia is going to be a problem. But whatever you dig for us, for this region, it will come back to you. Just keep it a watch. Watch the space. Ethiopia will fragment faster than Somalia. Just watch. I'm telling you. First, I told you, any Nobel Peace laureate, if I were Mr. Abe, I would just now retire and go home. He can't manage Ethiopia anymore. Sorry, it's gone. You are trying to fragment Somalia. You have forgotten yours is going to be fragmented faster. You made a very terrible mistake and went into bed with Mr. Afeki. Mr. Afeki, my great friend whom I knew from 1990, is watching this from Asmara. A man who never wanted us even to watch a football match, calling it is a game for very bad people. With Zenawi, we used to walk in Islington. Mr. Afeki, you remember the walk from our offices towards Islington and Highbury train station in 1990. You remember our walk? What have you done to Africa? You have killed it. I speak with experience. That Afeki of Eritrea, we knew him. I saw him a long time ago. When he was working as a vice chairman of Ethiopian Relief Association. I was the vice chairman of Uganda Community Relief Association in London by Her Majesty's government. With them, we are housed in the same office. And Afaki, Mr. Afaki, that guy is very dangerous. You see, he could not even allow you to watch football. He calls football a very dangerous. No wonder all the Eritreans are dying in the Mediterranean Sea.
And we have a lot of them here in Kenya.
Yes.
So many of the young men from...
And Africa is keeping quiet. Diplomatic leaks. We go behind the enemy lines and bring out all this. For people of the world to know, let people know. We have wrong presidents on this continent, Jamen. That one now has linked up with Abe and has linked up with Farimajo, a satellite of the American hegemony and the Norwegian hegemony. No, Norwegian hegemony is in the smaller one, that small one, that prime minister, that small one, who was in Kenya here as the chairman of the ready something of Norwegian relief. Inakutafuta iko maneno tunakuja. Because this boy here, Hassan Harye, he thinks we don't know what he has done here. Tunakuja. The money you got from the oil, return it. You might not eat it, Mr. Hassan Harye. We are on it. I am not, even if I go, there are people on it. They will get you. Return the money. You are the one. causing this problem of the Indian Ocean. Somalia is shifting, fueled, a pro-crisis, fueled by those countries. Qatar, wacha tulete Qatar. Go ahead.
So Qatar and, of course, Turkey have had an aggravated, long-standing intra-Somalia disputes, so they've been contributing to that. But also the bitter rivalry underpinning the crisis among members of the Gulf Cooperation Council have added a dangerous new twist to the Somalis' instability. Deterioration in Farmajo's relations with Somalia's federal states when his government refused to distance itself from Qatar, a federal state, some of which depend on Emirati. So we see the Emirates, and Qatar fighting. So Emirates wants to support different states within Somali and Qatar also. So they were asking if the President Farmajo should separate himself from Qatar, and he said, no, I'll stick with Qatar because apparently he's really gaining a lot.
Because Qatar is the one who paying for his existence. Qatar pays for tickets, for everything. Qatar pays for bribes for the judges in the court. Kenya wants to go. How do you take your documents to people who are always having a holiday in Qatar paid by the Qataris government? Then you want to lay your documents about a very important area that can go under chapter 40, United Nations chapter 8, 40 and 39 and 40 of the United Nations. Anybody who has read that law, who has read the United Nations chapters 8 of the United Nations Security Council, what does it say? Someone is fomenting insecurity in the region. Kenya must stand up and shout. Someone is fueling insecurity in the region. If the Kenyans are not saying, for us who want peace in Africa, we are seeing it. Violation of chapter 8 of Article 39 and 40 of the United Nations Security Council guidelines on security. Creation of insecurity, sponsorship of insecurity is against international law. If we are not careful, the Indian Ocean Archipelago, that one, have I pronounced it nicely? Or whatever you, enclave. Let me go for the best word for other people to understand. The Indian Ocean enclave will be in chaos once you hand over any territory in any of these two countries. I therefore call upon the international community, the diplomats watching this program, to tell the United Nations, the countries they represent in Kenya, that this case of the Kenyan system be deferred. We can find better ways as Africans here to solve this problem without involving very queer judges, obnoxious judges, obnoxious court, a court that has no amicus curiae, a court that does not accept, and above all, a court influenced by a judge from Somalia, from the clan of Mr. Farmajo. I got that evidence when they went to Qatar. I have it. Even the hotel bills, how much they paid. You can see. So, Mr. Farmajo, I'm on the top of you. I'm checking everything. You want to create a war here? You will take us all down. But our people, our Ugandan troops cannot die in Somalia because of supporting your satellite systems that you are selling, mortgaging, creating a war. I wrote an article against any intervention of Libya. And I want to go on record again. I warn the people that Libya will have serious consequences. Thank you, Museveni. You supported me on this. The rest did not support me. The rest thought I am a shouting match. That stupid Zuma, who instructed his person at the United Nations Security Council to vote for dismembering of Zuma, I bet you will be in jail. Another prediction. Write it down.
And hold on, Doctor. Just to
you better go to jail, Zuma. And any president in Africa who defies me. I'm now talking. I'm not a prophet near Elijah, neither a relative. I'm speaking facts. That one of Ethiopia, chaos. There is no leadership in Ethiopia. There is NGO syndrome. The former prime minister was better. I saw him a few days in one of the hotels, and we had a discussion. I told him, Honorable Prime Minister, I don't know why you resigned. But this other younger man is just a satellite of NGO syndrome. An NGO syndrome. The George Soros. This is George Soros. When you see him, you see George Soros. There's no prime minister in Ethiopia. So thank you.
There's a point that the Emiratis brought up as the reason as to why they had to sort of break ties with Somalia because of why Qatar was supporting Somalia. They said they find Qatar to be encouraging intolerance forms of Islamism where they are. And of course, we saw Qatar has been hosting the Taliban. And of course, over the weekend, I think the US had a deal signed with the Taliban that will lead to other things in the future. So Emirati thinks that Qatar supports intolerant form of Islamism, not just the normal Islam religion, but the extremist. So Qatar that is what Emirati is claiming. Has that level of or that kind of atmosphere that we've been seeing in Somalia, is President of Somalia really committed to getting rid of Al-Shabaab, or he has created an atmosphere for them to thrive?
Can I tell you one thing?
As the Emiratis are claiming.
Can I tell you one thing? There is nothing like a committed to fighting Al-Shabaab when you are part of the Al-Shabaab. The 11 MPs who left here, they left with who? Whose message? They were carrying a personal message, or they were carrying a state message. I don't care. I am not involved. They are you know one thing in Kenya.
I am involved. I'm a Kenyan. So
you Kenyans fear to tell these MPs. 11 of them left to go and do what? Were they carrying a government message? Can they show us? Apart from the few dollars that they got and came back with running, which was confiscated by police because it was not customed. Rubbish.
And also, did you hear the chorus that all of them are now singing that Kenya should give back who?
So who?
That should be left to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
There is a
the
channel.
government of Kenya.
Let's be honest. Why can't Somalia write to the Kenyan government in black and white, deliver the letter to say there is a man we are looking for, whom you have hidden, who is there, whom we want. Now this one's here, looking for chai. What is this common thing in Kenya called? This common thing of eating.
Kitu kidogo.
Apana kitu. Yes, kitu kidogo.
They were 11.
Na fair. Eat fair. These guys, people are not telling them. They are even speaking as if they have also the audacity to go to national television and they say we don't want a war between who and what. Why don't you also criticize Farimajo, whose Ugandan troops are dying on a very day? Someone will say, why am I talking about it? My troops, my brothers are there. My brothers are dying. Every day, we are being blown to pieces. Some of the children in troops from Uganda are not, even have no children, have no families. We are pacifying a nation that is pacifying us, killing us. They are biting the hand that is feeding them. Who else is going to talk? Nyerere talked and died a hero. Let me die a hero. Let me talk about this. Stupidity of the highest degree. Munawacha wanatembea tu. We have been to Somalia. The man they went to see, Farad Yassin, is one of the biggest funders of Al-Shabaab. You went to meet him. What did you bring the results to who? You think why it is like a Wajir, where you enter a bus and a drive from Nairobi to Wajir. Somalia, Wajir. You need, if they had died there. No, if they had died there, let's ask questions. Let's ask questions. Had they died there, who will be responsible? People will say they were killed there. Kenya government, Kenyatta killed them. Isn't it?
And they went without the knowledge of the Kenyan government.
Yet, because they would not be there to say we went on our own. Had they died there, who cleared them to go there? Wacheze, because it is Kenya. So Uganda, by now, Museveni would have charged you with court martial. They would not see any light that they go to that parliament again. So that is one of the things I like. I also like about Museveni. Honestly, the other things of democracy, I don't eat democracy. I eat security. My mother and the other people are living. Yes, my mother is LC5, LC1.
What is that?
At 89, he's LC1. He's a member of the LC. Akona na yake.
You mom.
Hey, anajua to cook. At the age of 89, cook, assemble. You don't play with Uganda.
All right.
That's why these ones, they don't go there. Go there again. You know the treatment will take you down. These are the first people. You cannot ask Hassan Omar to go to Uganda. Tell him, where is Hassan Omar Senate? That's the treatment. Because we play with people. We are playing with our lives. We are playing with everything. These guys wake up. No, imagine, ask a question out of the box. Had the plane been shot in Mogadishu?
Because it's a very volatile area.
How will the Gaja government know that 11 of their MPs are missing, who went to see their aunties, nannies, grandmama, papa, Sheikh Mudakucha, Sheikh Guruguru, all these sheikhs, they went to meet them. How will the government in Kenya know who had died? Show me.
That would have created a very precarious
situation. A very big situation.
And
they were invited by another intelligence system. A man himself who could have turned on these MPs and shot them. Have you seen the precaution, the precarious situation that the government of Kenya finds itself? 11 of their nationals. Nobody is discriminating them.
Not nationals, members of parliament.
Members of parliament.
Leaders,
11 of them.
Leaders in this country.
Leaders who who have 30,000, 20,000, 40,000. They live without even informing the lowest security officer that they were going to meet another mafia state. This is mafia. The state of Aldamoro. The Red Brigade. What?
So yesterday, after the shootings that happened between Jubaland officials and Somaliland and Somali Defense Forces, there's a person here who was tweeting, and he's the official opposition leader of Wadajir party there in Somalia. And what he said in just a few of his tweets, he said, "We condemn the violence spearheaded by the FGS in Gedo. It's unfortunate that the National Army, which has for years been ready to fight terrorists, secure the country and restore stability, is now being used to ignite civil war and create instability, derailing the war on terror." So this is a leader in Somalia who is saying this move by the Somali government is counterproductive, and the Somali army has been trained for a long time, for years now, to fight insecurity, to restore stability in the country, but instead they're now being used to create a civil war and instability in Somalia. Doctor, I don't know, what is your response to that tweet by Abdirahman Abdishakur, who is the official opposition leader of the Wadajir party in Somalia?
Let me tell you, there is another guy whom I respected so much called Biro Kero.
I saw a tweet he tweeted.
He has just tweeted something very obnoxious, silly. It smells, it stinks. It stinks, the lowest grade of grammar. a man whom I thought was worth the gist, Bill Okero. I ask one question. Had these guys died in Mogadishu, what would Bill Okero tell the people? There's another one called Ahmed Nasir, this lawyer who has accumulated wealth as a result of Kenyans being not seeing. I always write him on Twitter, but he doesn't answer me because I have his details. Itamupatia package. Ako na package. Anawaambia watu anajua kila kitu. Tunakuacha tu. That Ahmed Nasir saying, oh, he knows this. What? You. Indian Ocean must not be touched. Let the British government hear me. And I want to thank Her Majesty government for the quiet and the silent efforts that they have put in this, in the fight to make sure that the Indian Ocean crisis of the petroleum and oil is resolved without making serious concessions by any of the sides. Because the moment we are going to do that, believe me or not, we are finished. Once you make a ruling in the ICJ that Kenya, this territory is for this country, we are gone. We are gone. No wonder these guys want it that way. Those who have thrived out of piracy. Nakuja. Don't try me. Don't, that lawyer Grandi Mura. Don't try me. Record is inaonekana. We just give you respect. Muache. Kuambia watu. Tunakupatia respect tu. So yeah, these are the people killing Kenyans. And because they are in high place, there's nobody touching them. But slowly, Trump and other agencies, slowly, nasikia, slowly. Some people might regret.
And a tweet just coming.
You know, at times why I like Dwale. Dwale is very, at times I like him. At times, the only problem, Dwale is one of my best students. To be very honest, he's my student because when he was doing his master's degree, we used to sit and talk about many things. I'm very happy that Dwale learned a bit of tactics. He's very tactical when it comes to some of these things. On this one, he's not part. He fully supports me. And other people who want a better organization, a better Africa, a better East Africa, a better Horn of Africa. He is always straightforward. Turkey, Qatar, Norway are fueling the conflict in Somalia. Period. That's my letter, which I'm writing to the United Nations Secretary General. Guterres, my friend, he's a personal friend. You know, when I say this, people think it is on television that I'm saying it to praise. No, that letter will reach him. On the question of these thieves, the judges in ICJ, the letter is on the way, the legs are already going. Kenya cannot take its documents to surrender them in the hands of judges who are already determined to make sure that Kenya loses the case. Impossible. Impossible. It will be suicide for the Kenyan government to do that. It will be a suicide move. You can insult me up to heaven, but we have done it for you. Show me one country that took its troops. It is my blood, my brothers, my sons, my daughters
I see Somalis here talking.
Let them talk.
The army cannot.
They are just coming back. They are coming back from United States. Look, some of them are just coming back from United States.
So
finding us, we Ugandans, we have died for that country.
Yeah, terrorism, security.
Wacha waseme.
You still need
watafanya nini hao?
Loving African countries to come in and help you stabilize that country.
Siadi Barre was an African lion. Farimajo is an African sellout. I don't want to use a bad name like a Trump.
You almost did. But
I almost did it.
That's okay. Thank God you didn't. But I'm just saying,
sellout.
Somalia still needs the help of other the neighbors that it has around. Because when Somalia is stable, then all of us are stable. But when chaos are in Somalia, as they are right now, we get to suffer. And for those who are like, what is KDF doing, the Kenya Defense Forces doing in Somalia? We were drawn into this war, remember. Kenya did not just wake up one morning and decided, now we're going to invade Somalia. All right, and should that place be stable, Kenyan Defense Forces, their mothers here who can't sleep because their sons are fighting a war that does not even belong to them in Somalia. And so while you...
we are happy they are listening.
Yeah, please...
You better listen and learn.
Yeah, you know, facts right. People have sacrificed.
Yes, we have sacrificed.
And with love...
Will they say, I am a Ugandan, I should not talk about Somalia?
Yeah.
They should say it. When Ugandan troops were the first troops to enter that territory, to die, thousands and thousands of us have died. We have people we are feeding today, orphans. Do you feed orphans, you, who are just running from United States, from Minnesota, to come and lay bombs here to kill us?
I'm sure none of them talk.
Yes, coming to lay bombs to kill us, who have suffered with you.
Yeah.
Even if God likes you, God will also like us.
Kenya has been very kind. So Uganda has been very kind. Other countries across Africa has been very kind towards the Somali community, because you've been under, the war that really started and that put a lot of your lives in danger. So you had to run away from your country, and that was inevitable. So Kenya is one of the countries that has been very kind to Somalians, and we shall continue to be kind to Somalians. And
yes,
and we shall continue to.
We are fighting for the ordinary Somalis, the ordinary Somalis who are being killed by Al-Shabaab, tortured by Al-Shabaab, together with a regime in Mogadishu, a belligerent regime, a sellout satellite regime that is working hand in hand with the Turkish Ottoman Empire and the Qataris to import the kind of terrorism that has spread in the Middle East back to our continent. And therefore you call yourself an African and come on my page to annoy even more Africans. We have lived with Somalis for years, 3,000 years. We don't discriminate anybody. We don't want this behavior from Turkey and Qatar. If Kenyans are not speaking, I can speak from anywhere. I swear, walai. Even if you put me in Mogadishu in the middle, I'll speak. I'm a soldier.
Yes, I think
I'm also a soldier. Because I feel for those soldiers. I feel for the army. I feel for my Ugandan brothers. I know when we are fighting against Idi Amin, I know how many of us saw, how many we saw, how many of us saw the dead bodies, walked over them, of the Libyan troops that Muammar Gaddafi flew into Tanzania, Kagera River. How many of us sang the song by the rivers of Kagera? There we sat down. Oh, we wept when we remember Kagera. That was the name when Nyerere helped us to overthrow Idi Amin. So I know the plight of what soldiers go through. We are only advising as Africans. This issue of taking your documents to a corrupt court to decide where the border of Indian Ocean stays. Yes. Pick that one, Stephen. That is where the Indian Ocean stays, where it ends. This Indian Ocean has been there. We can share these things together.
And by the way, Kenya has never touched those oil blocks. Never. I don't think Kenya's
We can
never,
share.
Kenya's never cared.
We can sit down
like that
as Africans and share. One brings a company, another one brings another one. Why are we fighting today?
And what is very interesting is now Kenya and Somalia are finding themselves fighting a war that really has nothing to do with the Kenya or Somalia. We've seen other international interest. We've seen another outside interest and interference coming into the country and interfering with what is happening between Kenya and Somalia. I wish Kenya and Somalia would have been left by themselves to solve this matter. Perhaps we would have seen an amicable end of this matter, because the end of the day, we are neighbors. We need each other, and that is a fact. You cannot live with a neighbor next to you that is there forever, and you cannot do anything about it, but live in acrimony. That will not work very well for either of the countries. So Kenya needs Somalia, Somalia needs Kenya. So we need these two countries, if they can find a solution. Unfortunately, the outside interference and other interests that come into play that has nothing to do with the interests of Kenya or Somalia has taken over the whole process, and now it is spilling over to other things that we are fighting now, a war that does not even belong to us.
Exactly. Thank you very much, viewers. That is diplomatic leaks. We shall continue talking about it. If we don't talk, we can't correct. If we keep quiet, the situation goes worse. We are not against Somalia. We are not against Somali people. We want to thank everybody who has been with us, who is with us, who stays with us, stands by us. The MPs who went to Somalia. This is not Nairobi to Wanjiri Drive. In case you had an accident, in case something, God forbid, happened in Mogadishu, how will your government react?
Do you know there's conspiracies that would have been...
Theories of conspiracy would have brought this nation
and the government
to a standstill.
Drawn into it.
Yes. So, next time when you want to visit your relatives, your mama, your auntie, your girlfriends, which we believe some of you, I know you. I meet you in hotels. You have very many of them, but we don't want to talk about it. Please, next time, inform the government. That's all. It is up to the Kenya government. I am not a diplomat. I am an activist. Not a simple one, not a Wamutata, an international activist who can win a case. Therefore, when I speak about Turkey, I have evidence of judges of International Criminal Court of Justice having houses in Ankara. So how can Kenya take its documents? How? Thank you very much, viewers. Diplomatic Leaks returns tomorrow at the same time on another topic. If it is a return and you want due to public demand, we shall return. I can see the demand has been very high. Thank you very much, our viewers. Over 540 per second. That is one of the most biggest show. So Diplomatic Leaks continue debating.
and all our viewers.
Remind you.
we need all of that stuff.
We need all of you. Don't worry. You can insult us. But remember the words. Libya is no more.
So
Mediterranean Sea is no more. If the United Nations Security Council does not listen, under Chapter 8, Article 39, 40, peace is being disrupted by having this Indian Ocean oil blocks. If they don't listen, God is listening. And if he gives us that strength to be here, inshallah. Thank you. God bless you.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us. Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflict instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo, today as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the government, and the rebels vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to leave for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and now thank you so much for keeping it here. We are back with another show at the editor's memo. What is patriotism and what is allegiance? This is some of the very important 2 words today. We'll be looking forward to really disseminating and really finding the real meaning of this and what this should mean to a citizen of a country. Doctor, I don't know if even a lot of Africans understand patriotism and the importance of it all. Yeah, so do Africans even understand what patriotism is, even as you introduce yourself?
First of all, this is the editor's memo. We are summarizing the events of the day. What we see in the Kenyan papers, what Kenya can do, what do we feel pains us the whole day today. I and Miriam will go through a list of all this because she got me off guard. I was still, yes, she on off guard. She got me on off guard, and I was not able to introduce the topic. The editor's memo is simply analysis of what has hurt you the whole day. For the whole week, Kenya and the Kenyans have been talking about Africa. What can we do for Africa? What can Africa do for itself? What stage do you call yourself an African? You can never have two identities. You are either born one, but never born twice. You are either born in that territory of 1884 Bismarck, but you can't be born in two territories. The mother did not lay eggs there and then legs there. He laid eggs in one country. Patriotism is simply the will to love your country, to stand for your country, to fight for your country, to stand together with your leadership is patriotism. Allegiance. If you have got paid allegiance, oh help me God, you're a member of parliament, you went to parliament, you saw the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and said you will uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. You can't wake up in the morning and pay allegiance to some other constitution anywhere in the world. That's impossible. Until you renounce one, stick with the one you want. I see this happening every time, and it's going to happen. People are not talking about it. So patriotism is a good way of looking at what values, what are the values that you need? What do you need to safeguard? What can you do? Are there people committing crimes but you don't, report? That is where patriotism begins. Are you throwing rubbish anyhow? That's patriotism. Do you mind about damaging the toilet you are using, that the next toilet comer will find it clean? That's patriotism. You see, everywhere, morality. I was talking on the television this morning, and I said morality has collapsed.
Has gone out of the window.
Yes, you saw me. How many people here wash hands from the toilet? Then you blame Kenyatta because the coronavirus has arrived. Can President Kenyatta wash your toilet? You should wash your toilet, clean your place, clean your teeth, clean your hands. Patriotism, you look at a government job you have been given. Kenya Airways, I was flying last week to Amsterdam. They did not have even, what are they called? Masks.
The masks. They don't?
And when we arrived at the airport, every person, what a shame.
I'm using that airport in a day or two. They don't have the masks.
Where? No, I have some masks which I have to lend you. I bought masks. I came with my masks in my bag.
But Matiang'i said we are safe, so I take his word.
No, we are no.
No, seriously.
For the sake
they
of
don't
masks.
have the masks.
Where are they?
Because Kenyans, we might
when
be
we
safe,
landed there,
but
when we landed Amsterdam, every airliner, everybody on the queue when we are waiting for our to show our some of us to show our cards. Some of us are eyes. My eyes in Europe, they see my eyes.
Yes.
I'm not like a Farimaggio. They see my eyes. So you open, you remove glass, they see, enter.
But Harry probably has that because he's from Oslo.
Yes, Harry.
And they have that.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about my friend. Now, then everybody coming out of the plane had mask. I looked at my airline where I came, the girls came out without mask. We have no patriotism.
That is negligence.
Of what we do. We leave it for Uhuru Kenyatta, thinking that Uhuru Kenyatta will do it for you to go and wash your hands when you come from a toilet, which can be spreading, or you throw rubbish that will kill other people the other down.
So the MD there, the KQ, really needs to be held responsible.
It is high time
the management.
Africans woke up. You see, high time Africans woke up, understood by what is supposed to be done, so that patriotism is seen to be done, not to be just a word of mouth. There are people saying we need patriotism to bring back the students from China. Take them where? No, take them where?
somebody was suggesting you just cover them and bring them back. I don't know how you
And how?
I don't know what
They are getting treatment. There is a law there when they say quarantine, is quarantine. But here, if you say people self-quarantine, who is going to go in self-quarantine?
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
And the worst thing that annoys me here
In the face of a
is
crisis.
the type of xenophobia, xenophobic approaches against Chinese.
I think it's racist now.
It's xenophobic. This disease can even leave China and come here. Pray. This the morning I was telling some people on KBC that let it go somewhere, God forbid, in where there is rule of law and where people respect the law. That one day said, don't use that train. Wanakupata una manga karibu na train, sangine bullet. Kwisha.
Like North Korea.
Not here, even in China. If they see they can't treat you more than that, kwisha.
North Korea, they killed the first coronavirus case, and we've not heard so much coming from North Korea.
Yeah, it's
I'm not saying anything.
Unasiru hiyo.
That is extreme.
Too much democracy overrides patriotism. That's why they said too much democracy killed Rome. Patriotism is either here and here alone, but not here and there. Allegiance is not there and here. Allegiance is where you saw the constitutional, quote the book, so help me God. You are an MP of parliament. Your allegiance is with the speaker and the president of the Republic of Kenya. You don't have any, don't tell us any rubbish story. That's your story of going to meet your girlfriend. Is your problem. But as far as you are concerned, you remain a public entity, accountable, who should be accountable to the public, and the public, apart from the speaker supervising how you hammer your plates of food in the house. That's different. And how you sleep, which bedroom you sleep, which angle you sleep, the speaker cannot know. But once you stand up to claim you are going to discuss something which is not of public interest, you must tell the authorities. Thank you very much. Our editor's memo ends here.
All right. So we'll see you tomorrow for another edition
That's
of
the shortest.
Good Morning Africa, and later on Africa Diaspora Dispatches. So from us, it's bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye from me and her.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.